Health and fitness requires more than just the physical work. It starts with the work you put in to grow your mind. Welcome to the Mind Gains podcast, where we discuss what it takes mentally to see results physically. I'm your host, Jess. Let's get started. Happy Monday and welcome back to the Mind Gains podcast, where you come to learn all things health and fitness related, to grow your mind, put in the work up top so that you can be successful with the physical work you're putting in each week to reach your goals. If you're a new listener, welcome. I am so glad you're here showing up for yourself to become a better version of you. And yes, you are already fantastic as you are, but there are always areas that we can improve in. And we are all about personal growth and development here. Because if you haven't noticed this for yourself yet, when you start working out and eating better and creating daily non-negotiable healthy habits for yourself, you are becoming a better version of you. You're becoming more disciplined, more resilient, more adaptable, more organized, so many things. And that is one of the coolest things about health and fitness. It always starts off as people wanting to get into shape, right? That's almost always the reason we start this journey, not realizing that there is so much more in store for us beyond just what we look like. It truly does change your character. And if you haven't experienced that yet and you're kind of still just starting out, that might sound a little dramatic, but it's true. It helps shape and mold your character, your values, your strengths, and I think that's pretty awesome to see. So yes, you are already great right now as you are, but we can also want more for ourselves and we can continue to level up. And that is what we're here to do. You are here to learn and grow your mind, and I am here recording a podcast episode to grow as well. That is part of the reason that I do this. It's another way to push myself, get out of my comfort zone, and make sure that I'm doing things to grow as well. So if you're a first-time listener, welcome to it. And if you're not, welcome back. But regardless of which you are, this episode is for you. And today we're going to be going over strategies for becoming a morning person, because it can be tough, like really, really difficult to pull yourself out of bed in the morning earlier than you have to. Believe me, I get it. I am not naturally a morning person whatsoever. I do not naturally wake up early. Before all of this, I would sleep in until probably around 10-ish in the morning. And I would definitely still be doing this if the benefits of waking up earlier weren't so great. So don't think that becoming a morning person was just easy for me and that this episode doesn't apply to you because you're just not a morning person. That would never work for me. Yes, it will. No one that does any of the things I talk about on here is just special. They don't get to just not feel tired in the morning when their alarm is screaming in their ear at 5 a.m. They had to train themselves to become a morning person, and you can too. And if you sleeping right up until the point that you have to get out of bed, whether that's for school, work, or otherwise, has become a habit for you, you can adopt the habit that you're going to get up an hour or two earlier. Habits can be formed and they can be broken, and we can replace bad or even just neutral habits with better ones. Getting up early is one of the best things that you can do, in my opinion. You are going to be so much more productive with all the things that you need to be if you wake up earlier than you have to. Waking up 1 to 2 hours or even more, depending on your schedule, before you actually have to, almost creates like more time for you in your day. Obviously, we still have 24 hours each day, but getting up before the sun is even up just puts you in such a better position to start your day. Because when it's that early in the morning, no one needs anything from you yet. It's like the only time of day, I would argue, that you're going to have some time to yourself without being bombarded by a million questions from family members, from people that you work with, from everyone, honestly. When else during your day are you going to have that time where no one needs something from you right this second? Now, obviously, there are some exceptions to this rule. If you are a mom who doesn't have someone to watch your kids during that chunk of day if they wake up, obviously, yes, I am not talking to that individual necessarily. I am talking to the general masses here. And most of us are not going to be bothered by anyone during that early morning chunk of time when most everyone else is still sleeping, which then gives us almost like extra time in our day that's uninterrupted. I love using those early morning hours to get my workouts in. That's just what makes me feel my best. I don't really like having a slow morning because I'm tired, so I need to get some adrenaline pumping through my veins, or I would probably fall back asleep. And B, because if I put my workout off until the afternoon, there's a really good chance I'm going to skip it. And if it gets put off until the evening, forget it. I would rather wake myself up at 4:30 a.m. and get my workout done than have to go in the evening. I actually did used to go to the gym on my lunch break in the afternoons when I first started because I did not want to wake up at 5 a.m. But then I felt super rushed to get my workout done, grab something to eat, and then get back to work as quickly as possible. I hated it. So switching to morning workouts was absolutely the move. Yes, it took time to get used to for sure, but it really paid off and it was so worth it in the end. But even if you're not getting your workout done during the morning, even just getting up earlier to get your day organized, maybe get a couple house tasks done, or even just having a few minutes to yourself to breathe and get prepared for your day is going to be a lot more beneficial than you waking up at 7:50 a.m. when your work starts at 8, rolling out of bed and jumping straight into a day of craziness, tasks, deadlines, and putting out fires. How on earth do you think that you're going to be able to bring your best self, the best version of you, to your job if that's how you're starting off your day? Because how you begin your morning sets the tone for the entire day. And if you're waking up frazzled and rushing to get logged into work on time and jumping straight into your laundry list of tasks, do you really think you're going to be better equipped to handle that day than if you would have woken up even just 30 minutes earlier to have some coffee, go outside and breathe, or go out on a short morning walk? Absolutely not. So I don't even care what you're necessarily doing with those hours as long as it puts you in the right headspace to start your day. For me, this is my workout. My workout each morning, Monday through Friday, is non negotiable. It is getting done before my workday starts because that's how I bring the best version of myself to my job. I have taken care of what I need to feel my best each morning before I start giving to other areas and to other people. I am filling my cup up first so that I can pour into others. This is not selfish for you to do. You can't pour from an empty cup. You might be able to grab the garden hose from outside and try to serve that to the people in your life. But I don't know about you. If I were on the receiving end of that, I'd be like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want your hose water. I don't want you giving me what you were able to just quickly scrape up. I'll wait for you to fill your cup up first with some better quality water than what you're going to get from the hose. Don't serve the people in your life hose water. Nobody wants that. Go fill your cup up first. Do whatever you got to do to fill your cup up with some Fiji or Evian. I don't know, whatever you like. Go fill your cup up with some high quality H2O so that you can give that same high quality water to the people that you're pouring into. And the way you do that is by making sure you're prioritizing your physical and mental health and well being. And if the only way you're going to be able to have time to get a workout in is by waking up a couple hours earlier, then do that. Create more time in your day by waking up earlier than you actually have to. And just a side note here, it's actually been scientifically shown that people who wake up earlier tend to live longer than people who stay up late. They also tend to have less anxiety and depression. They're happier and they're more productive. And it's not because of the hours that you're sleeping. It's not like sleeping from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. is going to allow you to live longer than sleeping from 12 p.m. to 8 a.m. It comes down to the habits. People who wake up earlier just tend to be more productive with their time and have healthier habits than those who stay up late. I mean, think about what most of us are doing when we stay up late. Usually not anything beneficial or productive. We're usually just kind of wasting time watching TV, eating snacks because we tend to emotionally eat a lot more late at night. But what if you replaced that habit with going to bed earlier so that you could wake up earlier and actually do something beneficial for yourself? What if you went to bed at 10 p.m. instead of midnight and you woke up at 6 a.m. instead of 8 a.m.? What would you be able to accomplish? Because I don't think that at 6 a.m. you're going to be vegging out on the couch eating potato chips and ice cream. I think you're going to be using those hours to do something of high quality. But you do have to expect that it's not going to just be easy right off the bat. It's not like you're going to go from sleeping until 8 a.m. to getting up at 6 a.m. one day to the next and feel perfectly fine. It's going to be difficult. Your alarm is going to go off at 6 a.m. and the first thing you're going to think is, screw this. I don't want to do this. I'm going back to bed. This just isn't for me. Yes, it is for you. You just have to give it enough time for your body to adjust to this new schedule. I don't know why we all think that the first little bit of us implementing a new habit or a new routine is just going to be easy. It never is. You have to practice it. And that process of practicing getting up earlier and getting better at it so that it becomes easier over time isn't fun. It's just not. So don't go into this thinking that it's going to be. But you're not doing it because it's fun. You're doing it because it's beneficial, especially in the long run. The reality of it is that no one who wakes up earlier than they have to is just motivated to do it. They don't want to get up before the sun is even up and before everyone else is up and pull themselves out of a nice warm bed to get a jump start on their day. I'm sure that if there were no consequences to sleeping in and staying lazy in the mornings, no one would be getting up earlier than they had to. It comes down to doing it anyways, regardless of how you feel in the moment, because you know your future self is going to thank you for doing it because of what you were able to get done in those first few hours of your day. And you're going to end up feeling better mentally and physically because of it. And after practicing it enough, it just becomes a habit and a discipline that you have established into your daily routine. And in order to make sure you're able to successfully become a morning person and implement this into your life, you have to stop looking for the reasons not to do the things that are beneficial for you and start finding the reasons that it would serve you to make that change. It all comes down to your mindset. Again, no one's mind is telling them that it is a good or it's a fun idea to get up at 5 in the morning. Stop thinking that those who do have it easy because they just love waking up before the sun is even up to get started on their day. Their mind is telling them the same exact thing that yours is telling you at 5 a.m. But the difference between them and those who are unwilling to get up earlier than they have to is that they are so zeroed in on the reasons why it's helpful for them to get up now instead of later. They're focused on their goals and whatever it takes to reach them. So it doesn't matter if they feel tired when their alarm clock is blaring in their ear before the rest of the world has gotten up. They know what actions are required of them to get them where they want to be. And feeling tired isn't going to stop them. They said they were going to get up, so they're doing it, no matter what. They are focused on the reasons it would be beneficial for them to get up and start moving despite feeling tired, instead of focusing on the reasons why it sucks to get up early. Your mindset and your perspective matter. So, that is the biggest piece of advice I have for you when it comes to becoming a morning person. But I also understand that we need practical tips as well. We need tangible ways that we can make it a little easier on ourselves to become a morning person. So, I did write out some of the things that I implemented when I first started to help myself get moving in the morning. And the first thing, the biggest thing that helped me was simply plugging my phone in across the room from me. I would say that most of us probably use our phone as our alarm clock. But regardless of whether it's your phone or if you use an actual alarm clock, plug it in as far away from your bed as you possibly can in your room. Having to actually get up out of bed and walk across the room to turn your alarm off makes it so much easier to get going. This is one I actually still do. Every single night, I put my phone across the room because if I leave it next to my bed where I could just easily reach over and snooze it real quick, I will do this every time without fail. I want that thing as far away as possible so that I just have to get up and start going. And yes, of course, even if you do this, it is possible to then go lay back down in bed and continue sleeping. But it's just like an extra push to get you going because you're already up. Like you already did the hard work to get up out of bed and put your feet on the floor. All you have to do is keep going. You're going to be annoyed that your phone is far away from you when you wake up at first, but you will thank yourself later because it enabled you to be able to get started on your morning. The next tip I have for you is going to be to plan everything out the night before. Setting out your clothes for the next morning, whether it's for a workout or for work or whatever, setting out your shoes, your socks, your backpack or your work bag, getting your breakfast ready if it's something that you can make ahead of time, filling up your water jug so it's locked and loaded for the next morning, just doing whatever you can to get yourself prepared so that you have less to do the morning of when you're like half asleep. Because I don't know about you guys, but for the first probably 30 minutes that I'm up, I am like a zombie in the morning. Like I am not thinking of anything. I am barely awake. My eyes are half closed. So the less that I have to think about and decide on, the better. Next up, we've got setting multiple alarms. I actually don't do this one anymore, but for the first while of me trying to get up earlier, I would set like 2 to 3 alarms for the morning just for some insurance. And the reason I would do this is because I don't love the snooze function of the iPhone. I don't know if other phones are like this, but if you snooze the iPhone, the next alarm won't go off for another 9 minutes, which is honestly quite a long time, especially if you're doing that like 2 or 3 times. It's honestly probably a setting that you can change on your phone. I've just never looked into it. So I would set my alarm at 5 a.m. and then another one at 5:05 and then another one at 5:10. So if I went back to bed for whatever reason, I would only have 5 minutes each time instead of 9. So I wasn't wasting as much time in the morning. I also feel like it just helped me because I would get annoyed that I had all of these alarms going off. So I would just get up at that point because I didn't want to deal with hearing it every 5 minutes. So make it more annoying for you to have to deal with snoozing alarms and hearing them over and over and over again than it is to just get up out of bed and start going. This next one is more so on the mindset side of things, but it was something that really helped me with not only being able to implement the habit of getting up earlier, but also a lot of the other habits in my life, like getting to the gym, taking walks to get my steps done, drinking more water. And that is going to be to take it one little step at a time. Because when you think about getting up at 5 a.m. to go get a workout done, let's just say, that sounds a lot harder in the moment when you really don't feel like doing that than just simply getting up to turn your alarm off. Like, let that task, turning your alarm off, be the only one on your mind when your eyes first open. Don't think about everything else that you have to do then afterwards, just the task at hand. And once you've turned the alarm off, go to the next task. I don't know, probably brushing your teeth. Just think about going and brushing your teeth at that point. After that's done, let's put on some gym clothes. Almost think about it as if you're not really sure what's going to happen next. Like, let me get dressed and then we'll just see what happens next. We'll see where the day goes. Don't think about the fact that you've got to go to the gym and you really don't want to. Just focus on getting dressed, and that's it. And then, oh, now I'm dressed. All right, let's go eat a little something and just focus on that task. Now I've had a little morning breakfast or my morning snack. Now let me just put my shoes and my socks on and get into the car. Once I'm in my car, let me just start driving. Let me just focus on that right now. And then all of a sudden, you're there at the gym and you're getting your workout done. I cannot tell you how many times I did this. Probably the first like 2 years of me working out, I think I did this every single time because it just allowed me to focus on doing just the next smallest step without thinking about the big picture. What do I have to do today that I do not feel like doing? Because when you start thinking about it that way and focusing on all the negative, it's going to be so much easier to let your mind talk you out of getting it done. But just giving attention to one small step at a time is what allowed me to get myself there to the gym every day when I did not want to be there and do what I needed to do. Small actions and small habits compound over time. And you can do this with anything. I do this now with other tasks that I really don't feel like doing. Like, all right, I gotta cook dinner. Let me just pull out the chicken. All right, now let me turn on the stove and add the oil to the pan. Like one teeny tiny step at a time. It seems so silly, but it really truly does help you take steps forward because those steps are so small and they seem much more manageable than focusing on all the things that you don't feel like doing. The last tip I implemented when I was working on becoming a morning person was not allowing myself to get on my phone first thing in the morning. A lot of people do this. A lot of people wake up in the morning and the first thing they're doing is scrolling on their phone. First of all, it is not ideal to be putting blue light into your eyeballs the second they open. And secondly, again, big time waster. I know how we all get. We open up Instagram or TikTok thinking we'll just be on it for a few minutes, and before you know it, 30 minutes has gone by and you have done nothing. I am 100% guilty of this, and I know I am not the only one. So, for multiple reasons, please don't go on your phone first thing in the morning. I would say to wait at least 30 minutes before doing that. I mean, if you need to check something quickly, like the weather or a text or whatever, but not to be mindlessly scrolling on social media the second you wake up and just wasting time. Check what you need to and then put the phone away and start your morning off right. You will be thankful that you did. So, these are my tips for starting to implement an earlier wake up time. Do these things, and again, give it time and practice. Practice makes perfect. It will not be easy at first, and you will not be motivated to get out of bed in the morning. Even if you maybe feel motivated the night before because you want to get up early and start being productive, the morning will come and you will not feel motivated. But action comes before motivation. And motivation is not the thing that drives you towards getting something done. And if no one has ever told you that before, that it's not all about how you're feeling in the moment, I'm here to break the bad news to you. Whether or not you feel like doing something is irrelevant, and it should have no bearing on you getting it done. It's a discipline and it's a choice that you have to make to do it anyways. And if you've never been a morning person, but you know it's just something you need to adopt because it's what your goals require, or if you just want to become a morning person and feel better and more energetic throughout your day, start off small. Don't go from sleeping until 9 a.m. to trying to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. Start off with waking up at 8 a.m. And then once that becomes a little easier, move it back to 7 or 7:30 a.m. Ease yourself into it because it has to be realistic and sustainable for you. But have realistic expectations when you're first starting to wake up earlier. Expect to be more tired for a little while. Expect to hit a midday crash. Expect to have to practice discipline in the morning hours when you do not feel like it. But also expect that a lot of great things are going to come from you waking up earlier and being productive, or just even having a little bit of that extra time for yourself in the morning before heading into a crazy, jam packed day. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone you know who could also gain something from it, or share it on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you like. It's really cool to see the people that are listening in every week to my thoughts and to my ramblings. And the thing about podcasting is it feels very lonely in the moment because currently I am sitting in a room, staring out the window, talking to no one. But it is so awesome to hear from the people that do listen every week and resonate with what I have to say. And it's starting to reach others at this point, and it's allowing me to connect with people I never would have otherwise because they found me through this podcast. So please spread the word if you don't mind, because my goal is to get this information out to as many people who can benefit from it as possible. And that mainly happens through word of mouth and sharing on social media. And if you're listening, let me know. I love hearing from you when you found an episode particularly helpful or when you have questions on certain topics. Do not be afraid to reach out because I love being able to help in any way that I can. But with all of that being said, I so appreciate every single one of you listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk next week.